The One Piece live action changed the game when it came to anime live action adaptations. After a few, and by a few I mean almost every single anime adaptation being pretty bad, or at the very least poorly received by the original IP's fan base, people were skeptical to say the least. Hell, One Piece is my favorite anime, and more specifically, my favorite piece of media, period. My entire right arm is covered in One Piece tattoos, so I, like most, was very skeptical of the One Piece live action when it was announced, even with how much Oda seemed to be involved. But when season 1 aired on August 31st, 2023, I was a very happy One Piece fan. And I wasn't the only one. I liked most of the changes, although not all, but overall I had a blast. And the One Piece live action was a smashing success for Netflix and was quickly greenlit for 2 more seasons. After 2.5 years, we finally got One Piece season 2. And to say that it was a step up would be an understatement. Not only was it an incredible season 2 to the first season's adaptation, but it was a love letter to the fans and was packed with an insane amount of Easter eggs. So today, we're diving into those Easter eggs episode by episode. So without further ado, let's dive in to the beginning and the end. Loguetown is the start of the Grand Line. It's also the origin of the Great Pirate Era, which was born from the end of Goldie Roger. And it's where we kick off season 2. And oh, is there a buttload of Easter eggs in this one, so strap in. First off, we have busts seen of Fleet Admiral Sengoku and Commander-in-Chief Kong to the left. A portrait of who we believe is Garp can also be seen. When the camera faces the other way, a second portrait of Garp in his dog hat can be somewhat seen here. Commander Ripper is seen and called to by name. He is the commander of the 153rd Branch and a former subordinate of Captain Morgan, originally seen in Episode 3 or Chapter 7 if you're reading the manga. The Marine calling to Ripper and eventually interrogated by Robin is the same Marine that Nami stole the uniform from in Season 1, Episode 1. And we got our first Panda Man sighting. Sanji is seen wearing a Doskai Panda apron. The brand is first seen on the cover of Chapter 86, and Sanji wears the exact same apron for the first time in Episode 45. We also see a clothing store owner from Episode 48 in Chapter 97. We see the Hero of the Marines musical poster at the Loguetown Opera. Man-Mayor-owned shop, the royal bloodline of the world nobles, 2 members of which are Knights of God, Episode 1130 or Chapter 1098. Captain of Koze of the Yes Pirates, Kuina fights and defeats him and another member in Episode 48 or Chapter 96. Ikuli's Trattora, with Ikuli serving a non-canon chef character who appears in Episode 51. Get your Marine Hero merchandise. We got a Garp hat poster. Usopp turns into his stall and sees a young girl wearing goggles who slaps his hand away as he reaches for them. Daddy, the father's daughter, Episode 50. Maybe. We also have Figureland Square, plus the Figureland Square Wines and Spirits, another royal bloodline of the world nobles, of which Shanks is a member. First mentioned non-canonically in Film Red, but officially appears in Episode 1120 or Chapter 1086. We see some books, Teach a Fish How to Man, A History of the Marines by Admiral Kong, Historical Atlas of the East Blue, A Tale of Two Heads. We also see Adventures of Stories from the Grand Line, the Beginner Guide to the World Stories. We get a background character designed after Carmen, a non-canon female chef from Episode 51. We also have a sign in the background saying Meshi, a little nod to the small restaurant in Syrup Village. Sanji buys the bluefinned elephant tuna from Sappy, who appears in Episode 51 or Chapter 98. We have the 1 + 6 = 4 sign under the transponder station, a little reference to a shirt that Luffy wears in the color spread for Chapter 186. We also have the delicatessen, while also meaning deli in German, is the name of the artist of Ending 18, Adventure World. We get more books, Brag Men, Adventures and Stories from the Grand Line by Louis Arnault, a canon book that is mentioned in Episode 70 or Chapter 11, and is later shown among the books saved after the Buster Call in Ohara in Episode 278 or Chapter 397. We also see Kuma's Bible on the table, We have directional signs that read Cocoa Village, Baratier, Orange Town. Shelltown can also be seen under these signs as well. We get another Panda Man, another panda plush held by a background character. We get Try Your Hand at the Cannonball Throw Carnival game sign, a reference to Garp's Throw, first seen in episode 324 or chapter 439. We get more panda plushes seen to the left. Father and a young girl in Looks Like My Pants Ate Your Ice Cream scene are costumed accurately to the anime, seen in episode 48. Nice little touch. Alvida crashes into a mountain of panda plushes, presumably the origin of all the panda plushes throughout the episode. A stand that sells masks is seen, and included are Yamato's mask and Who's mask. Above the stall is graffiti as well that reads King, which might be a reference to the Pirate King, but is more likely to be referencing King of the Beast pirates, given the masks. On the same stand is a mask or statue of the Sea King modeled, which is first seen in episode 55, chapter 101, and is one of 6 Sea Kings to speak to Shirahoshi when she first manifests the power of Poseidon, episode 567, chapter 647. Masks of other Sea Kings are also shown. Pedro's wanted poster is seen to the right. Pedro is originally introduced in episode 754 or chapter 805. Sengoku Street references Sengoku, the fleet admiral of the Marines, of course. We also get stylish decor and gold trinkets, a little shop that has a sculpture of the Sea King Birdie in the window. Birdie appears in the iconic opening We Are and debuts in episode 55 or chapter 101. The Cavendish poster, which was also seen in season 1. Sabo also appears behind Dragon, possibly confirming a long-time theory that he actually was there at the time of Luffy's execution, though he either didn't recognize him or didn't see him. Sabo originally debuts in episode 494 or chapter 583 and appears in modern day for the first time in episode 663 or chapter 731. And we have the Oro Jackson sign hanging up in the bar. We also get a non-canon bartender, Raul, appears behind the bar in episode 48. When it comes to audio references, Raul is also thanked by name from Smoker.
Thanks, Raul.
In this episode, Roger does call Garp
the hero of God Valley.
And this moniker is first mentioned in episode 958 or chapter 957. Also, goddamn, the anime episodes really caught up towards the end, didn't they? So after that absolutely jam-packed first episode, like I said, that one was filled to the brim. We worked a ton with multiple different people that we know through the community. We had a community chat where people were sharing Easter eggs. It was a lot compiling, so if we did miss anything, let us know in the comment section below. We're on to episode 2, Good Whale Hunting. A nod to the movie Good Will Hunting. We have a bunch of visual Easter eggs, a bunch of spoken audio references. We're going to start with the visual ones first. So Celeste's outfit is designed after the canon Celeste of the Rumbar Pirates, as seen in episode 380. The Rumbar Pirates, Yorkie and Brooke in particular, are shown early compared to their original reveals in episode 379 or chapter 487. Now, this one you got to pay a little attention to, but Luffy does strike the iconic pose that Nika is first shown in while singing Binks Brew to Laboon, episode 1040 or chapter 1018. Crocus talks to the photo of him and Roger, and the photo underneath might be a reference to Davy Jones, as seen in volume 38's SBS. Now onto our audio references, we get a short violin refrain heard in the intro song. Luffy asks,
5 more minutes, Dadan.
while unconscious, a reference to his caretaker, Dadan, who first appears in episode 324 or chapter 440. God, that part just broke my heart.
Name's Crocus, occupation, lighthouse keeper, 71 years old, Gemini, type AB blood.
This little bit of information that Crocus gives us is a reference to a beloved bit/gag that appears in episode 62 of the anime. Now, this is a bit of a weird one. It's not a One Piece Easter egg. I think it's a Monster House Easter egg. We'll play both clips here, side by side. You tell me.
If those are the teeth, and that's the tongue, then that must be the uvula. Oh, so it's a girl house.
On the roof of his mouth.
The uvula?
So it's a girl whale.
From here, we have a few sculptures of the Sea King modeled and the Lord of the Coast. They float in the pool where Kobe and El Meppo play the ball shooting game. Usopp makes a joke about Crocus living inside of Laboon, which is the original version of events in the anime and manga. I do personally prefer how they handled the Crocus stuff and the Laboon stuff in the live action, but let me know your thoughts. Do you wish that you would have seen Laboon have a bunch of mechanical stuff inside of him? I don't know. From here, we go to episode 3, Whiskey Business, a little nod to risky business. First off, we have Luffy's top from Syrup Village in the live action can be seen hanging by his hammock, and his top from Orangetown can also be seen on the couch. Usopp's bag can also be seen hanging on a column in the room. We have a bunch of small little Easter eggs here. Hotel Boodle named after the mayor of Orangetown, Polestar Hotel named after the Polestar Islands, a receipt from the Baratier, and a restaurant from Syrup Village, which is likely Meshi. A local brand of whiskey called Old Cactus Whiskey is seen, and Nami uncovers some corpses of the Tulip Pirates, which are accurately designed based on the manga. They're covered with their flag, and one of them has a tattoo of the Jolly Roger, both of which show their Jolly Roger as seen in the cover story they appear in. For audio references, we have a saxophone riff heard alongside the intro song. The bottom left sign, Banguino Cactus Grog, appears. And then Sister references the Tulip Pirates being the last crew to visit just the previous night.
I promise you are way more fun.
The Tulip Pirates are originally seen on the cover of chapter 151 as part of the Django's Dance Paradise cover story. After Whiskey Peak, we move on to Little Garden, episode 4, Big Trouble in Little Garden, a nod to Big Trouble in Little China. The eternal pose shown is pointing to Nanimonai, which is the giant goldfish poop island near Alabasta that Usopp talks about. First off, we have 3 statues going left to right. We have Nika, Brogy, and Loki. Loki's silhouette first appears in chapter 858 or episode 827 during the Whole Cake Island arc. We also have wax versions of a bunch of famous paintings seen throughout this scene in Mr. Three's house. We have Napoleon Crossing the Alps by Jacques Louis David. I hope I said that right.
Jacques Louis David.
We have Laughing Cavalier by Franz Hals, and The Swing by Jean Honor Fragonard. I know I definitely butchered that. I'm sorry. That's it for our visual Easter eggs. Not as much here. Granted, we are in, a crazy looking forest, but we do have some audio references.
The bruiser axe is my weapon of choice.
Brogy refers to his axe as the Bruiser Axe, which is first named in the One Piece Yellow Databook. Usopp tells a story of how he defeated a mole monster with a 5-ton hammer, continuing the trend of Usopp's lies, eventually manifesting to reality and teasing his future fights against Miss Merry Christmas. So here's hoping we're gonna get that battle. I'll be very upset if they cut that from season 3.
What's semla?
Oh, a spiced sweet bun from Elbaf.
A reference to Big Mom's backstory in episode 836 or chapter 866. In the explanation of this food, Brogy also mentions the sun god for the first time in the live action, which is first mentioned in episode 187 or chapter 287 during Skypia. With the other half of Whiskey Peak, episode 5, Wax On, Wax Off, obviously a nod to Karate Kid, we have a variety of Easter eggs as well. Additional wax paintings are seen within this scene in Mr. Three's house. The Scale of Love by Jean-Antoine Watteau. I know I butchered that, I'm really bad with names. Girl with a Pearl Earring by Johannes Vermeer. We also have illustrations of the Straw Hats and a picture of Vivi as seen in episode 72 or chapter 119. We also have some little notes jotted down. For Luffy, blunt attacks reportedly have little to no effect. Sharp objects and stabbing weapons seem to be effective. Organization has reason to believe the Marines and world government are mislabeling the achievements of the Straw Hats. From here, the rest is basically unreadable. For Zoro, we have, quote, individual has the ability to wield all 3 swords simultaneously and effortlessly. Individual is cold-blooded and has had formal training. Due to his achievements and ruthlessness, it is highly theorized throughout the organization that Roronoa Zoro could be the actual captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, and it is likely that the Marines and world government have misinterpreted the crew's dynamic. I think that's a pretty interesting one. For Nami, Insight details individual was an accomplished cartographer indentured to Sawtooth Arlong, known associate of Knight of the Sea Jinbei, frequently infiltrated pirate crews with the sole intention of robbing them, reportedly turned all profits over as tribute to the Arlong pirates, which were later used as bribes. So we got a little bit of a note there to Jinbei, which is really cool. For Vivi, known or suspected associates: Mr. 8/Igaram, Mr. 9, Straw Hat Monkey D. Luffy, Cat Burglar Nami, Nefertari Cobra, Chaka, and Pell. So we get those references as well. Quote, a patient master of disguise able to keep her lineage and intentions hidden while rising to single-digit status in the organization as a frontier agent. Infiltrated BW alongside Mr. 8 under the guise of uncovering information pertinent to the organization's occupation of the Alabasta Kingdom. Allegedly discovered the true identity of Mr. Zero. Eliminate on sight. Highly proficient concealed weapons, expert and accomplished martial artists with formal training from Mr. 8, Igaram, Chaka, and Pell of the Alabasta Royal Guard. Later on in the episode, Mr. 5 takes out a newspaper with the headline, "A New Scourge, the Bleaking Pirates. Watch out while sailing the Alabasta waters." We also have a visible Doskai Panda ad, and that's just what you can see in the episode. There was actually a post of the full newspaper, so we'll get to that at the end after we go through the rest of the episodes. Then on the other side of the newspaper, on each side, we have, quote, Alabasta Royal Army switches sides. The article reads two smaller sections. Quote, famous East Blue pet shop reopens. Following a scourge of piracy that left Orangetown in tatters by Buggy the Clown, Shoo Shoo's pet shop has provisionally reopened in memory of the late Hawker, who previously manned the shop before his passing. Noted as a popular tourist and commerce destination for pet owners and lovers alike, Mayor Boodle had this to say to the WEJ, quote, we are still very much rebuilding in the wake of a terrible tragedy, but I am just floored by the town's commitment to get this shop back up and running. And of course, little Shoo Shoo is happy too. End quote. The mayor said, petting the eponymous canine. The town has plans to erect a statue in honor of its terrier mascot, and local bookstore owner Poro noted that they're planning several additional expansions to the shop and expect construction to last roughly 2 years. Written by Ian Ino Chinode, I hope I said that right, a writer for the fashion column Street Corner Collection, is in the WENP, episode 1106 or chapter 1074. This article references episode 1148 or chapter 1114, in which a statue of Shoo Shoo is seen in a rebuilt Orangetown. We can also see the headline, quote, Water 7 celebrates local hero Barbara Troy, end quote. Barbara Troy is actually the late mother of fellow One Piece YouTuber Randy Troy, who is a One Piece content creator that is involved with the writing of One Piece and assisting the team. We also have an audio reference where Sanji says,
I'm gonna have to put you on hold.
And the hold music is opening to Believe by Folder 5. The opening is a cover of the Eurobeat song Dreamin' of You by Lolita. With episode 6, Nami Dearest, a nod to Mommy Dearest, we have an opening of the Reverie scene, which takes place from both the original flashback as well as the reverie we see with King Neptune in the post-time skip for One Piece. The Lhasa Lucas leads the reverie in episode 91 or chapter 142, and we have a bunch of other members present. Chairman Hamburger, Mororan, Tacos, Ramen, Seki, who is the now deposed king of Leloucha, T the Fourth, Curran, Ferrari, Beer, Right of Cobra, and Elizabello II. Miss Thursday is also seen for the first time, whereas she was only mentioned in the manga for chapter 155. Also in the One Piece bonus content for episode 3, an illustration by Oda is shown of Miss Thursday. This is actually the first time that she's been drawn. There's also a Lapin head that we can see mounted on the wall, and it's worth noting that Lapins and hiking bears were likely excluded just due to the necessary heavy CGI use already focused on Chopper and the other effects throughout the episode. At least that's the assumption. We also have an audio reference of, quote, their queen was assassinated a while back, and not even the Fishman warlord could stop it, end quote. This is obviously referencing the Fishman Island arc and a reference to Queen Otahime. We then move over to episode 7, Reindeer Shames, nod to the movie Reindeer Games, and only one Easter egg here, at least that we could find. Herliuk is reading a book in French, and while we can't accurately manage to translate it here, it's definitely something that's meaningful. It also aligns with the Canadian ties made with Chopper if he were to exist in the real world. On to episode 8 before we dive into the end credits, the outfits, and some extra content here. Episode 8, Dear and Loathing in Drum Kingdom, a nod to the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, has a few Easter eggs, not a ton, but more than episode 7. We have a statue of a fighting fish, can be seen. It's in the last episode, but it's more visible here, episode 635 or chapter 705, but you can see that. We also see a Lapin pelt hung up on the wall, and then Sanji tells Nami about his mother, a tease to his backstory all the way in episode 804 in chapter 841, which I thought was such a nice touch. Now, we have gone through the majority of these Easter eggs, but we do have a chunk more I want to talk about. So starting with the end credits on episode 1, we have the first shot of the island map previously shown in season 1. We get to see Kozia Island from episode 804 or chapter 841, the island that was attacked by Germa 66. We also see the Konami Islands, Arlong Park, Coco Village, and Goza Village. Mirror Ball Island from chapter 135. The cover appears in, quote, Django's Dance Paradise, end quote, that cover story. Gecko Islands, Syrup Village. Oregon Islands with Orange Town. We have the Island of Rare Animals from episode 18 or chapter 22, a single episode / chapter arc that is occasionally referenced back to this day. The Yatsuba Island region of Shelltown. Goat Island from chapter 2, the island that the Elvita pirates used as a hideout, seen as recently as episode 1153, crazily enough, in a flashback that plays out more similarly to the manga, not to be confused with the non-canon Goat Island arc, which took place within the Grand Line. We have Dawn Island with Windmill Village, Kumati Island from episode 47 or chapter 62, an island inhabited by the cannibalistic Kumite tribe, which appears in Buggy's Crew Adventure Chronicles. We also have an unnamed island here with Shimatsuki Village, Zoro's homeland, only properly named in episode 324 to chapter 440. The Polestar Islands, Loguetown. Oikot Kingdom, where Belmir originally found Nami and Nojiko in episode 35, chapter 77. The Sambas region with Baratie. Sixus Island, the island where Ace and Deuce were stranded at the start of their journey as detailed in the One Piece novel A Volume 1. Shot 3, we have Roger's captain's hat and a map of Loguetown. In shot 6, we have Robin's hat seen at Shelltown where they were attacked. Shot 7, we have Zoro's swords placed next to a drawn compass, referencing his lack of directional sense, you'd assume. I'm assuming that's what they're going for here. Shot 9, we have a map of the East Blue created for the Marines of the East Blue by the orders of Commander-in-Chief Kong. Below, we see a symbol of Kong within the frame. Episode 2, we have shot 5. We get to see Brooke's violin next to Laboon on the map, which is such a nice touch. And shot 7, we get Tashigi's sword being shown. For episode 3, in shot 5, we have Vivi's Peacock Slasher shown next to the Whiskey Peak map where she first joins up with the Straw Hats. Shot 7, the tulips referencing the Tulip Pirates shown at the map of the Sapotin graveyard as they've been obviously killed and buried. Shot 9, you see Igram's saxophone, which is next to the map of Whiskey Peak where he was killed. For episode 4, in shot 2, we have Miss Valentine's umbrella and Mr. Five's glasses. Shot 5, we have Miss Golden Week's paint palette as seen in the shore of Little Garden where she takes Luffy. Shot 8, Dory's sword next to his camp. And shot 9, we have a transponder snail as seen on the illustration of Mr. 3's wax house where Sanji eventually takes Crocodile's call. Episode 5, on shot 2, we get Brogy's axe at the entrance of his cave. Shot 4, Miss Friday and Mr. 13's goggles and weapon. Shot 9, Usopp's goggles and slingshot next to the map of the entire island, just signifying how important this arc was to Usopp's personal arc. With episode 6, on shot 2, we get Kureha's wine and stethoscope placed by her castle. Shot 3, Dalton's spade placed next to the map of Bighorn. Shot 7, Tashigi's sword placed next to the Isle of Renas. Did I say that right? Renas? where she and Smoker are. Shot 9, we have Chopper's hat and bag next to Drum Island. The map actually shows the location of Bighorn as well as illustrations of the Lapins, hiking bears, and what may be Kureha's sled. For episode 7, in shot 5, we have Hurleyuk's hat, which is placed next to the bridge on Drum Island, where he and Kureha met and talked in the anime and manga. In shot 9, we have Wapple's crown, which is now placed next to his castle, as this episode was mostly a flashback. And then finally, with episode 8, in shot 13, we have Robin's hat and Crocodile's hook located next to what may be a very zoomed out Alabasta, although it's unlabeled, so it's not 100% clear. Moving on to the outfits, with episode 1, you have Luffy, Zoro, Nami, and Sanji all wearing their canon outfits, with Usopp wearing an outfit inspired by Chapter 140's color spread. Changes into an alternate version of his classic/canon outfit, featuring 3 watches on his arm as seen in Chapter 147's color spread, and a red bandana, which is possibly inspired by the same spread. For episode 2, we get Luffy's outfit, which is worn in the canon story, just the classic outfit. Zoro's jacket was likely designed after the Chapter 107 color spread. Nami's outfit is the outfit worn in the canon story. However, she does change into her mode top as seen in the color spread for Chapter 147. Sanji's outfit is likely designed after the Chapter 107 color spread as well, and Usopp is wearing the same outfit he was that ended episode 1. Episode 3, Luffy wears his red neighbor's outfit designed after Luffy on Weekly Shonen Jump issue 1609. Zoro's blue jacket and green pants were likely inspired by Chapter 111's color spread. Nami's mode outfit carries over from episode 2. Sanji's blue top and red shorts seem to be designed after Chapter 111's color spread as well. And then Usopp's white button-up with blue stripes were possibly inspired by Chapter 70's color spread as well. And then Vivi and Robin are wearing their canon-accurate outfits. In episode 4, Luffy's outfit was inspired by the Chapter 140 color spread, while Zoro's outfit was inspired by the Chapter 128 color spread. Nami's outfit is canon-accurate, while Sanji's outfit is also inspired by the Chapter 140 color spread. And then Usopp, at least from what we can tell, is wearing a unique outfit that is just inspired by classic outfit colors. And then again, Vivi and Robin are wearing their canon accurate outfits. Mr. Five's outfit is inspired by Miss Golden Week's Operations cover story from Chapter 374, and Miss Valentine is also wearing that same color spread outfit from Miss Golden Week's Operation of cover story Chapter 374. Episode 5, Luffy at the end of the episode changes into a hoodie inspired by the Chapter 213 color spread. Zoro changes into a blue polo top, which has no clear inspiration, at least not that we've been able to find. Nami at the end of the episode changes into her canon outfit for the start of Drum Island. Sanji changes into an orange button-up, again, no clear inspiration here. Usopp at the end of the episode does change into an outfit inspired by the Chapter 152 color spread, however, and Vivi at the end of the episode changes into another canon accurate outfit for the start of Drum Island. With episode 6, make it real simple, everybody's wearing their canon accurate outfit. Episode 7, again, everybody's wearing their canon accurate outfit. And then finally with episode 8, Luffy at the end of the episode changes into an outfit inspired by the Chapter 213 color spread. Zoro at the end of the episode changes into an outfit inspired by the Chapter 128 color spread. Nami, Sanji, and Usopp also change into their outfits that are from the Chapter 128 color spread. Although to be specific with Usopp, we think this one is inspired by, it's a little hard to tell with Usopp, but everybody else, it definitely seems to be inspired by that Chapter 128 color spread. Vivi at the end of the episode also matches an outfit inspired by that color spread. And then Robin is, from what we could tell, either wearing her Water 7 outfit or an outfit inspired by her battle attire in the One Piece Strong World movie. Could be either or, to be honest. So yeah, there is a buttload of Easter eggs in the One Piece live action for season 2. And there's even more that, although we're present, we're not actually able to be seen from watching the show. So we have 2 things to talk about here. First off, Crocus's chair is actually embroidered with the Oro Jackson ship. This again cannot be seen within the episodes themselves, but from some behind the scenes that we've seen on the official One Piece Netflix Twitter account, it was present and was there. And finally, shout out to Randy Troy on Twitter for sharing the actual full page of the newspaper, which gives us a ton of additional references. I'm just going to rattle some off, but we'll leave this full screen. Feel free to screenshot it. Go to Randy Troy's Twitter. You can get it there. Obviously, we have the Water 7, the Barbara Troy reference, everything there that we talked about, but we see a reference to the Galilea Company. We get Crimin. We get Jewelry Bonnie. There is a ton of things. I mean, this is packed to the brim, and obviously not all of it is really legible, you know, it's a little fuzzy, but there's a lot, and I'm sure that people are gonna rip this thing apart and really try and figure out every tiny little detail that's in here, from Iceberg to Bonnie, like I said, there's so many. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd love to do more of these in the future if there's more stuff like this, but if you did enjoy, please share it with your friends. We did our best to compile as much as we possibly could. We worked with the community to fill a bunch of every single reference they could possibly find. We scourged the internet. We scrubbed the episodes. I hope we didn't miss anything, but if we did, you know what to do. Leave it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.